got a cease and desist, and they threatened to sue me if I published the book. It was a bit of a turnaround.
That's Jesse Lakes, one of the co-founders of Genius Link, a platform that helps you make more money from affiliate links by localizing where a buyer purchases. An example would be that if you're in the United States, you're going to see the link localized to the US version of Amazon. If you're in Europe though, you don't want to see the US version of Amazon. That's not how you buy things. Genius Link instead sends those customers to their own localized Amazon storefront. You might even say it's a genius idea. Yep, made that joke all by myself. Genius Link is a scalable, non-VC backed venture making over $2 million in revenue. In this video, you're gonna meet two of the co-founders, Jesse Lakes and Shannon McGuire. They're not only co-founders, but also life partners. We didn't get into that dynamic in this interview, but maybe that's a second interview in the future. Besides the point, I've gotten to not only know Jesse and Shannon a bit at the Crafting Commerce event by ConvertKit in the past 2 summers, but also a good chunk of the other team members of the Genius Link team. They're a team that supports creators incredibly well, and they're just one of those teams that is super easy to root for, especially when you know they've been through a lot but keep working on their mission. In their words, the Genius Link team has had 4 catastrophic events where they lost 40 to 80% of their revenue overnight. Not 1, 2, or 3 of those, 4 events where their revenue sinks to half or more of what it was 24 hours beforehand. We're not going to deep dive into all 4 of those catastrophic events, but we're going to deep dive a bit into Genius Link's story so you can avoid or make it through your own catastrophic events with your venture. Especially if your venture is one that is platform dependent, aka a venture that wouldn't exist if another company or another software didn't exist. In this case with Genius Link, if Amazon or Apple didn't exist, well, Genius Link wouldn't exist either. Genius Link is dependent on those companies being successful. Before we jump into those catastrophic events and the cease and desist letter, let's jump into what Jesse was like before he got into entrepreneurship.
Initially, I was trying to figure out how to make millions, right? In college, wrote this great business plan to do this website, and according to the research, I was going to be a millionaire before I graduated college. And this is all, of course, based off of pre-dot-com era CPM rates. This was, end of 2000, 2001 when I was working on this business plan. So obviously those numbers just disappeared, and I was left with affiliate marketing is really the only way to do ads. I couldn't get any ad buy. And that started off a kind of interesting relationship with affiliate marketing where I hated it. I wasn't paying out nearly what my spreadsheet said I should be earning. But it was an interesting beginning of the journey. Fast forward now a handful of years, graduated college. I spent some time in Colorado, realized that I did not want a day job. And doing this in the summer adventure, the sides of that, the shoulder seasons between the rafting seasons up north and further back in Costa Rica, I would spend working on some website projects.
The fact that Jesse went from a graduate in college to being a whitewater rafting guide is a parent's dream, right? Ha! This is also a moment to remind everyone that you shouldn't use your financial model to predict revenue for an early stage venture. What a financial model really is for you to understand how your venture might work and grow. If you want more info on that, check out my other video on financial models on this channel. So, Jesse has gone from being a rafting guide to building websites, but how did building websites lead to him writing a book about the iTunes affiliate program?
I would spend working on some website projects, and one of those website projects in particular was a series of websites that took soundtracks from extreme sports films. And I would earn a little commission every time someone clicked to buy a song from iTunes or Amazon. And it was with these websites that had this nice hockey stick growth in traffic, super exciting. My revenue was really flat. Scratching my head, trying to figure out what was going on, my aha moment was when I realized that it turns out people around the world love skiing and surfing and snowboarding and music. Surprise. My oh no moment, which came shortly afterwards, is when I realized that all these people around the world that were clicking on my links were essentially getting served up a broken user experience because I was using iTunes and Amazon, which at that point had digital rights licensing. You could only buy from the store where you had a credit card that matched that country's address. So called it my best friend, an engineer at Microsoft at this point, just said, hey, dude, we make a smart link that sends people to the right place based off their location or device or language, etc. And the classic engineer was like, yeah, dude, I can build anything, but you have to write the requirements doc. So that started this journey. It's about the time that I met Shannon and decided not to go to Costa Rica for the winter. I wanted to stick around Colorado and hang out with her. So spent that winter just digging in to figure out how the iTunes affiliate program really worked. I got my buddy the information necessary for him to start building, but then ended up with a bunch of information that another friend, who later became our CMO for a bit, encouraged me to write a book about. I spent some time writing the Mastering iTunes Affiliate Program, how to kick ass selling music, etc. It was an ebook. And then fast forward that story a little bit. I spent most of the spring and into the summer getting ready to publish that book, had it professionally edited, had cover design, was really excited about it. Just as I was about ready to publish it, sent a copy off to Apple saying, hey, I'm a huge fanboy of iTunes, of Apple computers in general. I think you'll appreciate this. You have an amazing affiliate program, zip for documentation. Here you go. And got a cease and desist, and they threatened to sue me if I published the book. It was a bit of a turnaround, and I think, yeah, you probably remember me freaking out that day.
You might be thinking to yourself right now, this has to be one of the 4 catastrophic events. Surprise, it's not. Somehow, someway, this actually led to Jesse and Shannon both getting jobs at Apple. I'll let them explain what happened next.
And a couple weeks later, she sent me an email back, and was it 60,000 words, 160 pages. I had 3 pretty trivial mistakes. So they actually extended a job offer. So I traded in the flip-flops for a cubicle and a commute in Cupertino. And thankfully, Shannon.
Wait, can I?
Jump in.
So the part that I thought was really fun was he called me and he said, so I just talked to them. There are only a couple mistakes. And she wants to know if I'm over 18 and a U.S. citizen. And I was like, oh, this is good. This is a good thing. I think that was before she started talking job offers, but I thought that was fun.
Yeah, so you were tired of your job.
I had been working as a software engineer in aerospace for
a real job.
I don't know, 8 years at that point. And wasn't like super stoked or challenged or anything with where I was.
So initially the job was as a contractor. So I flew down to California to kick things off. And that week, one of the engineers had pushed some code that essentially broke the iTunes affiliate program. So like day one for me and the next month was just this chaos. This affiliate program that had been operating relatively well in the background is now just completely broken. So it was really fun to just be thrown right to the wolves trying to figure that out. The engineer that broke it fixed it as well. Brilliant dude. But it really was perfect timing for me, where Eddie Q, the VP of Internet Services that included iTunes, App Store, etc., essentially just said, we can't be breaking a program like this. We need to put someone in charge. So lo and behold, it was a very short list of this guy they just found that actually seemed to know what he was talking about to some degree, didn't completely mess up his first month on work. Maybe if I had, it was covered up with the other chaos going on. But I got the job offer in early, I think December or so. And then ping Shannon, hey, you want to move to the Bay Area? You want to come with me? I think the answer was a hell yes.
Yeah. It was the end of a long day and I was sitting in a cubicle, answered the phone. He said, hey, do you want to move to California? I was like, yes.
So we headed down, started Apple full-time for me, it ended up being a couple years. Shannon ended up working there as well, ironically.
As someone who usually has at least one mistake in every YouTube video, 3 trivial mistakes in a 60,000 word book is impressive. Jesse and Shannon are clearly committed to Apple at this point, but what was interesting from talking to them is that Jesse and his team were making the book Jesse wrote to be obsolete, but they were still making one particular issue worse at Apple: geofragmentation. Geofragmentation is when someone in the UK shouldn't have to see the US iTunes storefront, essentially. And as Jesse put it, he wasn't done building and, quote, wanted to hustle. Hence the birth of Genius Link. Jesse went back to his best friend at Microsoft and essentially said, let's start building. They did that and found their initial revenue. Here's Jesse on how Genius Link got their revenue at first.
We were pretty lucky. During my day job, LinkedIn suddenly became cool because I had a real job. You don't use LinkedIn a lot as a RAF guide, but once I was actually at a corporate job and those relationships were important, really worked hard on building a pretty good LinkedIn network with the people I was working with. And then this was not planned. Once I left Apple, I didn't leave my LinkedIn profile behind. So I had some pretty good connections with people that needed technology like I was building. So I was able to find some people there. That being said, we initially built the solution to fix the problems that we saw with music. But it turns out that apps were a much bigger opportunity at that point. And the iTunes affiliate program at that point also supported the App Store. So we had two clients that just essentially landed in our lap because of just the right amount of SEO. And again, we were, this was a little bit of category design here. There really wasn't a global link affiliate link management solution at that point. So yeah, we had these two mobile ad networks that showed up as relatively early clients that were just pumping through a massive amount of volume. So yeah, they were instrumental for us to get to that 100K. Unfortunately, as we work through the story, we've had a series of major events. Yeah, as a bootstrap company, you live and die by the P&L. We've been fortunate. We're 12 years in now, maybe 13. And we've had 4 events that have been nearly catastrophic. And one of those was an Apple shifted around their affiliate. After I left, they made some changes to their affiliate program. And unfortunately, that we talk about user experience and monetization. The user experience challenge was less of an issue for apps because they often shared the same unique identifier. And the monetization piece essentially went away with a change that Apple made. So the kind of the two huge clients that really got the flywheel started also disappeared after a couple years, which was painful, but it also forced us to evolve, which is again not necessarily a bad thing to be.
Just after we made it to 100K per month.
Right around there, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even know what had happened yet, but we hit 100K per month, and then everything came crashing back.
We finally hit one of the 4 major catastrophic events. This event is a great example of the downsides of a platform-dependent venture. The platform that you're dependent on can change overnight and completely changes your venture with it. That's not to say platform-dependent ventures are the worst thing in the world. They're definitely not. They can be nice since it's actually a naturally well-defined customer, and marketing to them can be quite a bit easier since you know where they spend their time and money. It also makes getting acquired potentially a little easier since there's a natural acquirer. If you want another example, check out the recent acquisition of Sparkloop by ConvertKit. Now, when your venture has one of these catastrophic events because the platform changes overnight, as Jesse mentioned, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You and your venture just have to evolve, and it could be for the better. Here's Jesse and Shannon talking about how they process a catastrophic event and evolve from it.
First thing I think is get the emotions out, right? Yeah, there's usually some frustration.
You need a minute.
Yeah, some walks in the woods where no one hears you scream and shout and curse. And then, yeah, phase 2 is coming together as an executive team, just figuring it out. And so far, that's worked relatively well.
I think
been able to bounce back.
I'm sure the first time it happened, we were all completely freaked out, jarred, whatever.
We just left our day jobs.
Yeah, exactly. But after you go through it a couple times, you start to have this almost like this familiarity and comfort level with okay, we just got screwed and we've got to figure out how we're going to pull this off to spring back. Some sick way, I think we got comfortable with that position. It's happened so many times that it's you, me, Pete. With the three of us founders, we get together and we still have that rapport. We still have that. We've always been good at just sitting down, and no matter how much you disagree, everybody really hears everybody out. Whatever we decide to move forward with, it's like everybody's opinions. We're weighed into it. You start to get the comfort level with we've been in it before and we pulled through it, and I know we will this time too. It gets a lot less scary. It becomes less emotional, I would say, after you've done it a few times.
After the first or second time that this happened, someone referred to us as a cockroach surviving kind of nuclear winter. I thought that was a pretty good analogy, but after some time, maybe after the third or fourth time, realized that maybe cockroach isn't the right analogy, more of the phoenix. We seem to come back better every time we have to rebuild. One of our core values is make lemonade. Things come crashing down, and we're pretty good about being optimistic about how it leads to new opportunities.
My personal takeaway here is that your venture is going to have to take some hits. However, if you can develop healthy ways of responding, there's a sort of muscle memory that gets stronger each time a hit comes. You become more comfortable with the uncomfortable, and as Shannon put it, quote, it gets a lot less scary. For the Genius Link team to have to survive 4 of these catastrophic events is remarkable. And then to be comfortable in these moments is another level. How do you grow back after these moments though? Is it more systematic or random? I'll let Jesse and Shannon answer that.
It fits in spurts. There's some things built into it, right? Yeah, we fully drink the product-led growth Kool-Aid, etc. There's I think, again, another core value of ours is clients, not customers. It's a relatively low price point to join the service, but we still treat every client as best as we possibly can. I think, that's led to, again, not a systematic short-term growth, but systematic long-term, where I'd like to think that our reputation really helps. It leads to, people sharing their experiences because they traditionally are not good. They're great. I think the other thing that we've invested in is our domain is obviously pretty short as a link management platform. geni.us, Genius is, we got pretty lucky with that. We have heard more often than not that one of our best marketing pieces is not ads or SEO or content, which again, all are focuses for us. But just that people will see their peers using this funny looking link, we'll add some random characters to the end and end up at our air page and just, oh, I see what they're doing now, and come to us from that. I think just going overboard on client success and the short domain have been the best systematic aspects for growth. But our growth is incredibly lumpy. It absolutely ebbs and flows, and a lot of it's tied to finding a relatively large client, stumble across us, have a great experience, and then share that with their peers. As soon as I figure out what ad spend to where I can drop $1 in and get more than $1 back out, I'll certainly let you know, but we have yet to find that.
Yeah.
Or systematically find that.
Yeah. It's like you can chug forward with your ad spend and your content marketing and everything. And then it's like the week that like two big YouTubers get into a conversation on social media and are like, I love Genius. It's awesome. And all these people like chime in and start saying good stuff about us. And after a decade, it's like really, it's good for growth, but it's really just like awesome. Like,
rationalizes
like,
all the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, no, it just reminds you that, it's like just staring at numbers all day. It's not really about that. But we do something to help people, which is really awesome.
Jesse started this conversation talking about how his financial model wasn't working for his affiliate ads website from college, and essentially how his prediction was wrong. Yes, it is possible to build a marketing engine and be relatively systematic. It at least makes marketing a lot easier. As Jesse's affiliate ads business and Genius Link have shown though, there's people on the other end. They're not just numbers handing you their credit card information. There's going to be some randomness and ebbs and flows, as Jesse put it. In the long run, if you treat people as clients and not just as customers and solve real problems, you tend to make it even after 4 catastrophic events.